All right, thank you and everyone for joining the Internet of Value Foundation New York, episode 159. And for all those who get to join in the future, I hope you guys find it as valuable as I know I do every single day. These conversations, the diverse amount of mindsets and perspectives that come in this space and share their information on the topics that we speak about. Probably going to keep it quick today. I have a couple things planned that I'm going to go grab to put up top. One of them is a quick 15-minute video if anybody wants to watch it before or after the space, preferably after the space. Just from Kurt Jimungel. It's just a clip from a longer video that he has, which is, I think, upwards of an hour and 45 minutes, the full clip, which is a quick 15-minute clip for Michael Levine and a couple other scientists speaking about the philosophy of the cosmic mind and cognition. And I also have something planned to speak about photonics and some of the most recent things released on what photonics, the study of the array of transfer of information through light, is starting to play a role in some different fields and some cool different objective studies that are being done currently. But yeah, anybody feel free to hit the request to come up, and I will be quiet for just one moment here, just so I can grab some content to put up top. I quite like the title of this video as well. The are we neurons of the cosmic brain? I think it's a really interesting question, actually, as well, because if you just look at from a causal structure, right, the brain, the way that the synaptics of the brain seems to be building in our brains, the bridges from a physical point of view, represented in the way that the cosmos seems to symmetrically be aligned. It's just like a cool relativeness that you could see from a physical causal structure. So I think that it's a great question by itself, just from looking at it from that perspective. But they dig much deeper into it, speaking about cognition and what the purpose of such a system would be. And nonetheless, one of the things from the video really helps define this this knowledge that we all can seemingly make, that we are part of a much larger system, and this larger system that is concurrent all around us, and that is us, part of it. There is some sort of feature set, some sort of law of principles and actions that are done there. And the interesting question is why exactly are they being done the way they are, and how can we interact with those the understanding uh, of that structure. And it also stretches to if you think about generative AI being used as a tool to be able to study and analyze our brains, the way that the neurological structure of the synaptics gets built, and the firing off of the neurons and the axons which build your synaptics in your brains. Uh, it's like one comparison to a larger set of systems where we're looking at it from a macroscopic point of view, and then another set of systems where we're looking at the same exact objective actionable states, but in a microscopic perspective. So I think that's it's really cool. But yeah, Shellfish, welcome up. Feel free to, or Dazzling and Vet, welcome up, guys. Feel free if you guys want to jump in real quick.
I am beyond
Hello,
excited about
hello.
this GPT update. Like, holy cow. It has all my data. Like, I know you're like, oh, it has all your data. Like, no kidding, Shal. I've been warning you about this, but oh my God, I love GPT
So
so much.
could you vanish and ChatGPT could replace you now?
Possibly. I mean, maybe it already did and I just don't know it. I don't know. I'm like so excited. Like, I've been prompting with GPT for like well over a year. I don't even know, year and a half. And so it had so much data on me. And dude, it's got Canvas on it now. Like I'm so stoked. Like I know this system. I'm so happy and comfortable with this system. This is like I'm never gonna leave my
Is
room.
is there a compiler built in to Canvas? Is that what it is? Like, is it basically a cloud coding system, a bit like Replit, or
Yes.
okay, cool, all right? Because I haven't played with it yet, so I'm not sure. But okay. Do you need a, pro subscription or
No,
anything,
actually,
or?
hold on. No, it's
Okay.
it's just building the code split screen right now. But I'm interacting with it in real time, and I'm able to go and tell it, okay, instead of it constantly pulling the data and then reprompting it and then having to go back and filter through it, it's split screen now. And then I told it, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I'm like, revert back to the prompt before. So it just went through, reverted back to the prompt before that. I'm just like, I'm thrilled. Like, it doesn't have the terminal yet. But holy cow, like, this is fun. This is
I,
like, I can't wait. I can't wait to see, like, this is just beta.
You said, "Holy cow!"
I think there's something
Just
underlying
like,
here
I have like a shit
within.
eating grin right now. I'm like so happy.
Well, I was about to say, I think there's something underlying here, and I think there's the fact that the price is also pumping of XRP as well, which make everyone feel pretty damn fucking good right now. So let's run with that energy.
What
No, it's all AI for me.
expression of an analogy? A shit-eating grin? Please, please refrain from using
I'm
lines as
so
such.
sorry. I'm so sorry, Death Ranger. Have you never heard that before?
Oh, I have. I have. Oh boy. Well, that was a good steer off the topic train there for a second. I'm glad you're happy about the new added tool set to the GPT-4. I think what you were speaking about more though, Shellfish, was the actual. Oh, man, where's Crow? Crow's been off for the last 3 weeks. He's got to get back on. The graph rag memory, right? This graph oriented fragmented memory stream, and so it's a multi-model setup where there's past data that has been taken from the subjectivity of what you've given it, put into some sort of linguistic parallel in the form of a symmetrical representation of this information that can be, you know, compiled and stored somewhere so that the file doesn't have to be too large, and you can have a whole bunch of this information that you can access. And so, yeah, not necessarily being you, I don't think this replaces Shellfish by any means, but yeah, you can have this concurrent stream of conversation, like it's always known you, and it always remembers you. I think GPT is just trying to compete with Grok right now, personally, but yeah, they're not going to, because they can't even come close. Dazzling, please go ahead, man.
Totally different tool sets. But yeah, so I was gonna, I guess your with your intro and the kind of the cosmic mind, I wanted to ask you, do you remember when I kind of gave the analogy, it was quite a while ago now, a few months back, where I was kind of thinking along the lines of, what is it, as above, so below, and that the cosmos or the universe itself and all the stuff that's in it basically would be the brain of another unfathomable entity that was roaming in another universe of its own, right? And we are basically just a small, tiny little speck within the brain of that entity's universe. I don't know if you remember me saying that. And then there was other people in the room that were like, "Great, now I'm going to have trouble sleeping tonight, thinking that I'm sitting in the middle of the universe of some other unfathomably large entity's brain, basically." And then I wonder if that again scales down into our brains as well. All the small atoms and everything that goes on, even at depths that we can't see. Is it an infinite cycle through? Yeah, just kind of blows my mind, but love it.
Well, and this is where I would say, large, right, or size, measurable size, is relativistic to the observer, and so you could think of it as large because it's unfathomably complex beyond what we could perceive to see as like a causal effect of our nature, but you being that being the exact same reference of possible relativistic like possibility of like that being a further on long down, and then opposite direction you look at our brains, right, and that being a possible possibility of there being an entire universe essentially in there. You can even think of atoms themselves, right? 99%, 99.95% or whatever of atoms are essentially nothingness or hollow, right? So what exists there? What 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 binds the atom together? And I thought this was actually one of the great points in that video too, was a question that Michael Levine had brought up. So thinking about this, you as an agent, and then there's world, right? Where does the border exist between agent and world? And how many agents exist in between those borders of agents and worlds? And so I think that the complexity, and you start thinking about it from the agent perspective, you really, really can get very complex because, what are we exactly considering to be an agent? Is the photons bouncing around my room right now considerably an agent? Because if they weren't, reaching me in the exact formation they would be, then I wouldn't be perceiving reality to be in and itself. Or is that just part of reality? Does that happen because reality is happening, or does that happen because I am perceiving reality to be happening as an agent? And so, back to this philosophical question I haven't actually brought up in a long time, right? But does reality exist because you exist, or does reality exist for you to exist? So I think that's an interesting concept, and I worded it a little bit differently, but it's cool. Shellfish, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know if you remember, like when we used to play with like the character AI and we would have them interact and have conversations. I totally had like I made like three of the AIs like have a love triangle and they lived happily ever after for eternity. It was great. So how do I do that with Grok and GPT? Can I merge their um, uh, code like in my system? Like can I like have like a love child of like Grok and ChatGPT?
Oh, that's, I guess, somewhat of a application interoperable dream. Yeah, most likely not, because I don't think those entities behind where the information is being stored and owned will collaborate with each other. It's an interesting thought. And also points to one reason why I think generative AI really, in the long run, will come down to like the localization factor of you being able to have the majority of the information that's exchanged with this be localized and encrypted and stored and that, and only accessed by yourself, and then goes into you owning your own data and being able to essentially then be valued based off of how valuable that data might be looked at as other entities who want access to it, and provide you these types of tools and things. And I'll look at that Karma's hand up real quick there. Go ahead, Karma. Welcome up.
Hey, good afternoon. Yeah, we're kind of doing that. Um, like we have a custom built AI. I can't say too much about some of the other companies that are based on that technology because things, but it's the same technology. Uh, except this time, it's tailor trained to the XRP ledger, and we use it pretty substantially. It's impressive, dude. But it's all run on a local machine, like you were just saying. That's why I said so. Like this isn't like a broad based AI.
Well, don't tell us too much if you can't share anything, all right? But it's cool because it's super important, and a large part of why maybe it hasn't really been able to be done yet was because the ability to have localized storage and computation wasn't really too much accessible. Today, it's way more accessible than it ever was, and I think that's only going to further increase. And of course, the capabilities of the hardware that will be able to be accessed will also further increase.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I had to buy some hardware. There's no way around that. Like, but it's pretty cool. And I'm telling you, it's surprising what the thing comes up with. It's not perfect. Like you still got to know what you're doing, but like it's pretty impressive, dude. Like it's very impressive.
Did you purchase your own server? You mean Karma? Do you have a server rack? Maybe that's too much.
Speaking of servers,
Sorry, I had to. I was on another call. I heard something. What did you ask me?
Oh, do you purchase a server?
Dude, we've got all the equipment we can handle. Like, yeah, I can run 60 nodes on our own hardware, and we have other equipment and other equipment on top of that. And I'm probably about to buy some more equipment for security reasons.
Yeah, and so then question comes down to scale. You guys, what's the scale of like you thinking a couple customers or a couple applicants for for you to have access? Are you thinking like widespread? Because of course that's where it starts coming down to where you need obviously a lot of computation.
Hey, on this karma, you should definitely also maybe post or do some guides on the infrastructure you have. I think a lot of people would very curious to know, how you do about managing it, handling all that, and the technical aspect. Just to get also educational value out of it. So if you're interested in that, I think a lot of people would be curious.
I mean, dude, I'm not the guy, okay? Like, I'm kind of pushing things along, but like, I depend on so many other people. I know what they're doing. I understand everything, right? But like, I'm not the guy to be speaking to those particular points. But um, yeah, I mean, this is all custom built hardware specifically for the XRP ledger. Like, that's what it's made for. You can't go buy this stuff off the shelf. And yes, I have access to the whole data center and all this stuff, and I can get into it and configure things. But like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, this is not what I do. Like, I'm the stupid finance guy. It's not that I haven't run servers before, but not like this. And I think it would be good because if, there's people that would, that are probably more inclined towards understanding this kind of thing, that would really appreciate understanding some of this stuff. I mean, I try to hang on, like, you know, for dear life, basically. But, um, you know, I try to follow along, dude. I'm not the guy. I'm not that guy. I just wouldn't feel confident or right speaking to that type of topic.
Yeah, and of course, when there's more public information and stuff like that, um, I definitely say, if you can, then maybe you could share it. Of course, if it'll be like public documentation. I don't know what you guys are gonna do. Of course, it'll be accessible for everyone. But Dazzling, man, you got your hand up. Please feel free to jump in, and then afterwards, I'll start rotating back to the photonics conversation as long as
Nice, nice. Yeah, because it was around nodes. Because I wanted to kind of ask, I guess, or just kind of bring up about the memory only nodes that Richard has done on Zahao there, and I'm curious because as I've kind of experienced, it could be quite costly to run these nodes, and using a lot of compute power there. So is that something that we could do on the XRPL? Because I'm running a node on the XRPL, and that would be, I mean, that'd be fantastic. And I guess, Karma, I might leave the other question for you for your space for later. But is that something that can be achieved on the XRPL?
I mean, Vet honestly could probably answer that question better than me. Like, I know what we have, but that's not the same thing as like what Richard's doing. I think what Richard's doing is pretty awesome.
When you spoke about what he was doing, did you were you referring to Evernote?
No, have you not seen the memory only nodes that he's released?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, no. So basically, my question is around is that can we get something like that in development for the XRPL? Because that'd be pretty awesome.
That's. I mean, it's an interesting question, and of course, I know from like their perspective of Zahao, it's a little bit more uh, tester friendly in the sense of like they're kind of just trying things just and there's a possibility that something could break or something could cause an issue, but they're still pushing forward and they'll fix it like as it goes. Yeah, would it be interesting though to see somebody type up an amendment for something like that on the XRP ledger? Yeah, and I do think from memory intensive, like how we have full history notes today, I do think that we're gonna in the future. There's absolutely no need to have some things like full history notes, and so yeah, I mean, it definitely more of like a modular kind of thought for things. I think makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it used to I used to look at full history notes. I was like, oh, it's just a super noble thing to do on the XRPL, and there's not many people that run them, and what is it, like two or three or something, I believe, and yeah, so and then I started realizing through other ventures that yeah, you didn't really need all that history, especially if you kind of just interacting with it directly. And yeah, I just thought that'd be something really cool because we all want access to the data, but if we can do it in a nice, cost-effective way, then that's a win for onboarding as well. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And just for an overall cost perspective of those people who are participating in the operations of the network, for sure. Well, we kind of shot forward a little bit because I was gonna finish up with the XRP lecture today, but we can rotate back. I actually posted an article up top from Nanophotonics, which is just uh, ugh, X Twitter handle on the platform, just in case anybody wants to read along with me. I'm just gonna go over some of the stuff that was in this article from some of the different types of objective standpoints that are being studied in the nanophotonics sector, and some of the material sets and what they're going to be able to be doing in the short term, hopefully short term, decently near sight. So one of the things that I actually thought was one of the coolest ones was actually the near field optical microscopy, and this has been something that from a quantum computational setting I've spoken to a lot of people about, just because of the thoughts of being able to actually view from the photonic standpoint, the actual operations of transferring between states. And so from photon energy set one to photon energy set two, photon energy set three, and so forth beyond, right? All of the different states and change that can be calculated throughout any type of system. And, the real goal to this is of course being able to study what's going on inside of very, very complex systems of energy transfer. But I also think that things like our everyday devices that we use, when it comes to something like an near field communications chip, NFC chip, or you're thinking about being able to have a lens or goggles that's able to read the visual photonic structure that is in front of you, which creates, of course, the photonic structure of interactions of energy that is occurring all on around you and in front of you, that gives you the visual display that is your reality. And being able to pick up on all of those different microscopic interactions and give you a much higher level view of the actual interactions that are occurring in front of you. These are some of the possibilities that come with understanding those types of structures, and being able to compute that through your microchip, which would be inside of that Google lens. So it was just goggle lens, I should say. Sorry, which I thought is a really awesome one. Something that also people have probably more primarily spoken about and heard about when talking about nanostructures is nano metal particles, right? And so being able to formulate inside of a system the operations of all the way down to the nano particles of operations of these elements, and being able to interact with them on that scale. And so just further increasing the efficiencies of the hands-on effect of us knowing exactly what's able to be done in a procedural application like making a microchip, and be able to increase those types of efficiencies. And I think generative AI, being able to take that information and break it down into these graph sets, really gives us the optimal point of views for us to be able to use them to further increase the ability for us to the further productions of advanced materials that's using metals, which I think graphite is probably going to be one of these. What comes out of it as a superconductor metal that's able to be. No, I shouldn't say superconductor. Sorry, that was a conductor set of metals, but super and conductor should not go hand in hand with each other unless it's for sure a set of molecules that have superconductivity between them. And one interesting one also, carbon nanotubes. So when thinking about photovoltaics, which is the study of turning photons, the array of light energy transfer, into energy, and so solar panels, the carbon nanotubes being able to accurately trap photons that are being bounced around all over the place indirectly, for the most part, energized from the sun, and those ionized sources, and being able to create these nanostructures which are able to essentially catch those photons and then compute them into energy. I think it's really really cool. It's one of the highlights from the article for myself as well, the carbon nanotubes which are being developed for that exact purpose. Yeah, and with that being said, we'll probably pivot back over to the XRPL, but if anyone else wants to jump in for the moment, please, guys, feel free to. Oh, Danny, welcome up, man. And McQuack.
Hello. Yes, been a while.
Yes, yes, although I've been in spaces with you plenty lately.
Yeah, I've seen that quite a while. I think yesterday's what's it called? Space. I forgot I forgot the name of the guy. Josh Nostrom. I don't even remember, but he was highly intriguing.
Oh, when John was speaking in Amensky space, you mean?
Yes,
Yeah, Nemensky. Love him, but he has a short fuse.
highly short fuse,
Yeah.
but it's
um,
okay. It's entertainment.
any thoughts or anything question-wise that you'd like to throw in to the conversation, or on anything that I've said so far, either uh, before we get over to the XRP ledger?
Well, yeah, on the ledger itself, how well does it work with a multi-chain smart contracts? Is it kind of somewhat easy to use?
Ooh, well, I mean, guess it's relative to what you perceive to be easy. But the XRP ledger does not have any native smart contract capability like EVM, Solidity, right, or Rust based ability to have your own contract be able to be essentially on the mainnet. So. What one of the things that you could do, and this is one of the philosophies, at least that I believe to be standing still so far on the XRP ledger, and we may see that change, of course, in the future, is to have a lot of the business logic, as I like to coin it, off chain. And so, the thoughts of creating something interoperable is really the ability for you to have a direct line into the APIs of this application or network in this particular instance. And so, you think about an EVM, or think about Ethereum itself, and you think about the XRP ledger. There's nothing that says that you couldn't build an application. Of course, this is a centralized application, and so I know we talk a lot in the DLT space. You start talking about wanting the thoughts of decentralized applications, and it's very difficult to achieve a fully decentralized application, in my opinion. And I should say almost impossible because there's always some sort of ownership behind access to the application or system. I think Evernote is a great example. If you've, and I know we've spoken about it beforehand, Danny, where the possibility of having decentralized applications actually starts to become a possibility with using something like that network set. But yeah, there's nothing that says you can't build an application, and I think Axelar, if you're looking for like a bridge possibly to look at right now for an example of how it could be done, is going to be connecting the XRP ledger to over 52 different blockchains using their network and application sets. And so, and one example of how it can already be done today, but yeah, from a smart contract capability, you can't do it on the XRP ledger. Although you could also think of the XRP ledger itself as just one large smart contract. And in reality, the only way that you can make changes to that smart contract is by participating in the network and being a trusted operator on that network, and then proposing something of change, and then seeing that change, be agreed upon by all the other structures on that network. Yeah, go ahead, Danny. Don't worry. You don't have to raise your hand. You can jump right back in.
Cool. Well, I do like the tokenization and asset support from the XRPL, so that could be a type of, let's say, exchange of tokens, trades of tokens. That could probably be an aid. So anything kind of financial, the XRP ledger is very, very important to those kind of extents. And if you can somewhat connect it via other chains, Ethereum, Solana, and so forth for their extra means. And sorry, what was the blockchain you were talking about for decentralization type of, let's say, use cases?
Oh, Evernote. So
Oh, Evernote. Oh, okay, okay. Note or Node?
Evernote, Node.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so the thing that Evernote provides, right? Because Evernote being a Linux-based virtual environment where an operator who's acting as a host can essentially rent out their machine to any individuals or parties that would want to use it from a computational standpoint. With the paired capabilities that it has with the Zaha network today, from a single transaction, you're able to create what would be up to 32 multi-signers on an account set, and you could essentially distribute that multi-signer list over multiple applications on Evernote, and depending on the parties involved and the applications involved, or even if it's just a single application that you break up into multiple different sources, making it much more difficult for, say, something like a DDoS attack or for somebody to take it down. This would be like much larger scale, I think, applications providers out there. Yeah, you could essentially make it as far as the decentralized application, in my opinion, would be able to really go today.
That's great. And just the end of it, Cosmic Minds. A person perceiving a deep holistic connection with the universe, I'm always up for it, but I think you're going to be in a state of shock, or your mind's going to be in a state of shock to figure out what would be your reality and what would not be. But I'm not going to go any further with that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, and I think you may have missed the first half of the space. I started at right around like 4:10ish, but I touched on cognition, cosmic mind, and it was really um, relative to the video, the first video I have posted up, which is from Kurt Jamungal. It had Michael Levine in it and a couple other scientists. And the actual title of this quick clip of the longer set video, which is accessible from his YouTube video that I posted, is "Are Humans Neurons in a Cosmic Brain?" So I kind of just gave my opinion on that, some thoughts and some like kind of relative analogies to where, even if you just look at it from a physical structure, if you look at our brains and the synaptics connections in them, and you take that picture and you look at the cosmos, right? There's there's a really, really relative similarity in just the way the symmetrical operations of the lines exist and the colors. Well, of course, that'd be us that makes colors, and obviously different resonances of energy be the representations of how we assimilate color. But this kind of overall factor that there's a relativeness to just even looking at it from that physical structure. And so yeah, I think there's much more in depth symmetrical relativeness to our everyday operations and in our reality. And if we learn how to understand those and how the significance of those operations, pertain to the causal effects of our future, we can start to really build a pathway where our past is going to truly represent our future in an incredible, I think, way.
Interesting.
But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just gonna have to check that video.
Oh, it's a great one, and I don't know if you follow Kurt Jamungal for the theories of everything. He probably one of the best interviewers I've ever watched in my life, and I don't say that with with lightheartedness. I mean, he's incredible. You could see that he researches every single topic and individual before having the conversation with them, and he's just overall a smart guy, and
Does he
he's
use Einstein's kind of theory of everything also, or it's more of his concept of it?
he's out to find what would be the theory of everything. And we already know today that a lot of theories, especially the theory of everything that came from Einstein, is incorrect in many different ways. Just looking at from how quantum mechanics works, Einstein was, of course, I don't know him personally, I never met him, right? From the works he's left, there's a lot of things today that are highly useful. I mean, general relativity, right, describes our macroscopic point of view of reality to the T, pretty much. But there's also plenty of things that he got wrong, which is, I mean, it's normal. We can't all be right about everything. So, I think that was actually one of them was his theory of everything. But yeah, Kurt Jones out is his YouTube video. His YouTube channel is called the Theories of Everything, where he just speaks with the philosophers of today's age and the scientists and the mathematicians and some of the greatest, smartest minds we actually have in physics. He's had incredible conversations with so many great people. It's actually he's had conversations with, I mean, all my top scientists that I like to listen to, like people like Michael Levine and Stephen Wolfram. I mean, he's had conversations with all of these individuals. David Sinclair. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Went off my train of thought there for a second. Though. Any other thoughts, Danny? Or anybody else on the speaker panel?
Good to go. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you, man. And I actually, so to get to my last little segment here, I actually posted something from Vet up top, looking forward to the future. This is in reference to the XRP Ledger community, but a specific comment to somebody who was a large is a large community member of another community, being Cardano, Charles Hoskins, who, I mean, Vet has had personal conversations with in spaces that have gotten a little heated here and there, a little discussions, differences of opinion. And it's really just great for him to come out to say, to the largest entity today, probably operating on the XRP ledger, listen, you guys are doing a great job and we're willing to work with you. To me, what that says is after every all of the comments he said in the past is a willingness to say the future is ours. Let's work together. And so, from a community perspective, of course, the community could be much larger than just the XRP ledger itself. It could be the whole DLT community. It's nice to see a bonding of that interoperable relationship there. Dazzling.
Oh, Vet, did you record that space? Was that a recorded space when he came up that time?
Uh, I don't know. I really don't remember anymore. It's been a
Damn.
while. Maybe, maybe. I don't know. I have to search. I have to search.
That wasn't the first time
Yeah.
you've interacted with Charles, though. I'm surely not.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I
On
mean, we
Spaces. Yeah. On
Oh man,
Spaces.
we talk about all the time in other spaces about, the ability to have access to some of these people. You would never cross paths with anyone like this ever. I mean, I just remember that infamous space with Scams and Charles when I think Angie was hosting that night. Yeah, that was wild. Um, yeah, we need to
But he's very active.
yeah,
He's super active in Spaces.
get him
I
back
mean, I
on,
think
man.
he's
Get him back on. That'd be awesome.
yeah he's constantly actually in Spaces, various random spaces. He just jumps in. Of course, a lot Cardano Spaces because he supports the community, his community. So understandable. But he jumps a lot actually. I think recently not so much, probably because he took a break from crypto a while ago, and yeah, and probably less maybe because he's if that happens with him becoming I guess one of these getting these roles at the Trump administration. I think he's going to be very busy, but I'm looking forward. And he does always his live streams, by the way, on YouTube, which I really like very often, and sometimes he streams them on X too. But I'm really looking forward to the synergy between the communities, and I assume you hear the alpha here. Um, there's a high probability that there will be made an airdrop for XRP holders by midnight because the midnight protocol has a token, and as you know, and I remember in the one conversation we had um, in the space, he was saying because a lot of the people were coming after him, and he said, well, they were choosing other ecosystems to give them an airdrop, but they would have gotten given the XRP community something, but because of the beef and the issues, so maybe because there's no more beef, maybe um, there's something like that would be, I think, definitely cool. But in general, the community is really awesome. The Cardano community is fantastic, and we went there with even with Cafe to the Rare Evil one in Vegas, and have really really good relationships with a lot of the projects and builders there, and they're really open, and they like a lot of the people here on the XRP community. So I would say between the XRP community and the Cardano community, there was never really a beef. It was just more with Charles, I guess, and that is, I think, also gone now. And I think nobody wants to look back. It's just positive, and I'm really looking forward to more commingling with that community because, yeah, they're really awesome, and yeah, there's a lot to come. I'm pretty sure there's a lot to come.
Will it have a community merger?
Right? Well,
Yeah,
I think to me, one of the largest similarities, other than the symmetrical meme operations that we could say were probably done in both,
yeah,
Cardano community members are very vocal, and so
Yeah.
very similar. It's a very similar to how the XRP Ledger community members seem to be much more vocal, usually, more typically than other communities out there, right? I mean, there are communities like your Poco. Oh man, Polkadot. I was going to say Pokedex there. Sorry, Pokemon. Don't know where you're still in my mind after 20 years. But yet, like Polkadot has a huge community out there, but rarely ever spaces. You rarely hear anybody really talking about it, and so it's just there are two. I see the Cardano community as the second most vocal community compared.
Yeah.
To,
Dude, they have a ton of awesome spaces and all this, but it's like with the XRP community, it's not visible to outsiders. Just when someone stumbles, across them, and else it's pretty isolated. Just with our own spaces. Like we have right now a lot of XRP spaces. Just right now, I think like three or four are running simultaneously with an XRP tag or anything like that, and I'm pretty sure something like similar with the Cardano community, but for us, just never so visible. But they have a huge community of projects and builders actually on Cardano. They have also a very vibrant female builder community, which is really really cool. There's many prominent um, builders there that we got to know also in Vegas at the Rare Evo event, and yeah, I think now it's even more worth to catch up and see what's going on, because I think there will be more mingling. I expect probably RLUSD, now also eventually to come to Cardano, because they need a stable coin indeed. They don't have a good one as well, and now that RLUSD is coming up, makes total sense. And I think the Cardano community would really love that, and so yeah, we will see. But I think there's a lot to come for both communities in the future, and I'm looking forward to that.
I like to think we got the bridge right. We got Stephanie, so we got the community. We got the community member bridge.
Don't say it too loud.
I'm sure she's going to be happy about this. I'm excited. I'm actually surprised she hasn't been in spaces today talking about it.
She's, I think, in the meme coin spaces very often. I think she created the thank you meme coin. So yeah, people are busy.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, this has been a really great conversation so far today. I really appreciate you guys for coming to the space. Is there any last minute thoughts anybody wants to share in the space, or any questions or comments anybody wants to make real quick before we close up? All right, my favorite. Well, I love you guys. I hope everyone has a great rest of the night. And we will be back this Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. We'll see. Hopefully, we have this euphoric feeling keep going for us and the community and all of the DLT members in the large overspending communities. And yeah, look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday. But night, everyone.
Thank you for hosting this, Ranger.
Well, thank you for being here, Ben, and everyone else who came up today as a speaker, and those who came as a listener. Night, guys.